Senator Lankford.
Senator Cornyn, Senator Cruz, thanks for pulling this trip together. Like all of us here, I've been down to the border multiple times. For me, it's a big picture issue that I try to back up and look at it from the perspective of DHS and their responsibility. DHS has the responsibility to be able to help secure our nation. For any one of us, if you came and asked us if we're going to secure our nation, we would begin with things like the crime that's happening in our cities. We'd begin with the drugs that are flowing into our cities. We'd ask the basic question, how do we reduce the impact of transnational criminal organizations? How do we take away the money from transnational criminal organizations? How do we slow down the flow of drugs into our country and contraband? All of us would say a basic form of that strategy would be to stop illegal immigration at the border. That is basic, big strategy in America. That is not happening. I have a very simple question for the President of the United States. Do you want to stop the crime in our country? Do you want to stop the flow of drugs into our country? Do you want to stop illegal immigration in our country? Because of everything that we saw and of all the people that we talked to at DHS along the border, all their instructions include how to make illegal immigration more efficient. From the multiple times that I've been there, my conversation is, how are we stopping this? This is a problem. How are we stopping it? It's like, we're not. This used to take 5 days, and now it takes 3 days. They would tell us our instructions were, this takes too long, so now we have to move this faster. Now people are moving illegally into our country in an 8-hour period. And if you go to the Southwest Border Command Center here in Washington, D.C., they're not just tracking the number of people crossing, they're tracking the efficiency of how they cross. That's the metric that they have on the board, is how fast that they're moving people across the border. Because their focus is not stopping illegal immigration, it's keeping the cameras from seeing a crowd at the border. And so when people cross the border, they move them into the country as fast as they possibly can. Load them into buses as fast as they possibly can. They don't want crowds. They're not trying to reduce the number of people. They're trying to reduce the optics of the number of people. That's what we're facing in this administration, and that's why all of us are so upset about this, is because they're not even trying to enforce the law. They're not even trying. In fact, when I visit with Homeland Security officials, they tell me they have a new strategy that they're working on now. Their new strategy is to do an online asylum process where anyone from anywhere in the world could just sign up for asylum online, and then they could fly into any airport in the United States and then just go through the process from here. Can I remind you, currently there is an 8-year backlog in the asylum system. And they're moving from there's a backup at the border to opening this up to even more people. They're not interested in reducing illegal immigration. They're actively developing plans to make illegal immigration easier and increase the number of people coming into the United States. So when I hear people like the mayor of Washington, D.C., saying they have a homeless problem because they have so many people that are coming here, and when she says they were tricked into coming here, I remind her that it wasn't that long ago she was tweeting out and inviting people to be able to come, saying Washington, D.C. is a sanctuary city. Well, now sanctuary cities in the United States are finding out exactly what that means when they invite people from around the world, because Joe Biden is currently in the process of making America a sanctuary country, inviting anyone from anywhere in the world. We have somewhere, depending on the day, between 5,000 and 8,000 people illegally crossing our border every day now. Currently, with the restraints that the Biden administration has put on ICE, we're deporting about 203 people a day. You do the math on that. 4,000 to 8,000 people a day illegally crossing that we know of into the country, deporting 203. One last comment on this. When we were visiting with people from the ports, people that handle Border Patrol in between the ports, asking them what was actually happening and trying to get the details. Those that actually operate our ports were able to detail to us just this year, just in the Rio Grande Valley, they've interdicted 144 pounds of fentanyl. They've interdicted 27,500 pounds of meth. 27,500 pounds of meth just in the Rio Grande Valley just this year. When I talk to the Bureau of Narcotics in Oklahoma, and we talk about the people that are dying in Oklahoma, they'll say the number one issue is meth coming into our country, and every drug that's on the street now is laced with fentanyl, all of it. And it's killing Oklahomans. But, he said to me, in 2000, we saw the numbers drop off dramatically as the border was enforced. But now that number has skyrocketed, that the border is not being enforced anymore, and the drug numbers are overwhelming my state of Oklahoma. This is a crisis across our nation, and DHS has a job to do. Their Department of Homeland Security, can it not be a strategy for them to reduce illegal drugs in our country, to reduce criminal organizations in our country, to reduce the power and money of cartels into our country, and to reduce illegal activity? That should be baseline, but it is not.
Questions?